The scriptures tell us that God works through instruments in this world. It's as though the world is set up so that we have to help each other. The need for a teacher is in the spiritual path just as it is in any walk of life. We had to have someone guide us when we learned to read and write. We didn't just manifest it out of our own brains. We had to have guidance. And in any field in life, and especially the spiritual life, we need someone who can help us understand the mysteries of life. God transmits his vast power to masters in all religions, and not masters in the sense of master over us, but master in the sense of mastering himself, oneself, just like these great masters here have done. They have attuned themselves to God. They have drawn his magnetism, his power, and they've magnetized their own nervous system, their own consciousness, their bodies, their minds, their souls, to the point where they can handle the power of God. And then, like a step-down transformer, takes all of that electricity and steps it down so that they can give it to us in a form that we can handle. The blessing of having that kind of teacher, that kind of helper in our lives, the scriptures say is the greatest blessing in all the three worlds, meaning the thought world, the energy world, and this physical world. All the realms of creation. It's the greatest blessing that there is. And that blessing is not easy to come by. That blessing has to be drawn by our magnetism. And how do we do that? How do we create that kind of magnetism? By every thought we think, by every heart's feeling, by every longing for truth, for understanding, for every feeling of love. Those things, those thoughts, those feelings, those longings have a magnetism. Thoughts are things, and they generate an energy. They generate a magnetism. And it's that magnetism flowing through our being that draws God's grace. And again, it's helping each other. It's these great masters in all religions who have the patience, who have the enormous unconditional love to take us under their wing and say, I will help you, don't be afraid. And when that blessing happens, when we finally draw the grace of God in that way and draw a response to our longing, at first it comes in small ways. I was thinking about my own life, and first there was a book, a spiritual book, came into my life, which I rejected. Didn't want that. And then someone took me to a spiritual place. Oh, I liked that. That was starting to make an impression. And then I heard one of Master's chants, completely out of context. This was hiking in Georgia. I heard one of Master's chants, didn't know it was Master, didn't know anything about it, just knew I loved it. And then pretty soon, God drew me to Ananda. It's home. The Guru comes in just the way that each of us needs. Just as a mother We'll feed one child one thing and one child another thing according to what they each need. And when we have that blessing, then the fun starts. We have that guru, we have those teachings, we have that truth available to us. And then it is our job to attune ourselves to him more and more. We have been studying for the past several weeks the beautiful book by Swami Sri Yukteswar called The Holy Science. And in case you're unfamiliar with that book, it has kind of a mystique around it of being extremely hard to understand and very intellectual. And the sort of running joke is that, so you're boggled by all this mental gymnastics through the whole book, and then at the end he says, and I hope I have made it clear that one cannot advance a single step on the spiritual path without love. But the truth is, as we have been studying, love is something he keeps coming back to again and again and again. And he says that when one is fortunate enough to have the magnetism to finally draw someone who will help them on the spiritual path, then our job is to, and he uses this word many times throughout the book, it's our job to affectionately follow his teachings with love in our hearts, to follow that, to draw close. And Sri Yukteswar even clearly says, keep the Guru in your mind and in your heart. Even if it's impossible to be in his physical presence, that's not always possible, that physical presence. But the inward presence is what matters. Keep him in your heart. Study his teachings. Mix with other devotees. Be in that vibration. Just like the Babaji celebration tomorrow night in the Babaji garden at the community. Come, hear those chants, meditate with others. Be in that magnetism. Be in that joy. The more you attune yourself to that, it's like a bar of iron becomes magnetized. How? By being close to another bar of iron that's magnetized. That magnetism happens to you. The more you are in that vibration, the more that you love God, the more that you meditate, the more that you care, the more that you want to know truth, to find understanding, to live in this world and be free. And that is what the spiritual teacher gives us the opportunity to do. If we were on a jungle safari in a foreign country, wouldn't we want a guide who knows the trails? Don't go over there, that's where the lions live. We'd want to know that little piece of information. So in that same way, the Guru is not a threat to our independence. A Guru wants only our freedom, our true freedom in God. And so open your hearts to that magnetism, to that love, and be free in this lifetime.
Sometimes sing as a group, but I thought I would share it today. This is Swamiji's song, Dare to Be Different. And it came to mind because in this world, discipleship is not universally worshipped, shall we say. Discipleship is rather unknown as a concept, and that's what's required in order to have a guru. There has to be a disciple. You don't have gurus without disciples, and you don't have disciples without gurus. So this song is just touches on the spirit that is required for freedom. Dare to be different, dare to be free, dare to roam far like wind on the sea, fly like a gull, soar high on the air, be strong in your courage when others despair. Never in anger, never in haste, go without pride, be never abased. Freedom is yours if freedom you give, to all give it freely, in freedom you live. Mountains that stand up tall to the sky tell us no dreaming is ever too high. Dare to climb boldly, brave that high peak, you'll never know failure if bravely you seek. Dare to be different, dare to be free, dare to run far like wind on the sea, fly like a gull, soar high on the air, be strong in your courage when others despair. Be strong in your courage when others despair. This freedom that the song speaks of and that our souls long for is a native birthright, you might say, but it comes with stipulations, fine print, you might say, down at the bottom of the contract. We have to actually want it. It's just one of those darn things. We have to actually want it. It's not imposed on us. I was reflecting on, there's a simple passage in the Bible in which we are instructed to pray unceasingly. And that may seem like just a plain impossibility, but in fact, we are already praying unceasingly. We just may be praying for all kinds of bizarre things, and not necessarily what we might edify with the term prayer. It may not actually represent a true prayer. But, you know, I was reflecting back on when I first learned Spanish and when I first learned Italian. There was a kind of a watershed moment. The moment came when I had my first dream first it was Spanish, because that was in junior high and high school, and then Italian came later when I lived there. But there came a point where I actually had an honest dream in Italian or in Spanish, you know, where all the words were just coming like they were just part of my being. And praying unceasingly is a little bit like that. What do you dream about? Do you dream about something elevated, or is it something entirely personal? Where our minds go isn't completely up to us. But having a guru is a little bit like the difference between standing on the ground and trying to get to the space station by flapping our wings. we can flap, and if we were birds, we could get up to a certain elevation. I mean, a goose, in theory, at least so I've read, geese are sometimes up at 20,000 feet flying through the air. I mean, that's pretty good. 20,000 feet is no joke. The air's kind of thin up there. But it's still 20,000 feet. It's not 100 miles or something. If we're going to get off the magnetism of this earth, of this ego, is another way to say that, we have to have enough power to do it. We have to have enough magnetism to do it. And that's what the Guru represents, and that's what the Guru brings us. Last night I was up in the middle of the night and I saw something that I had never, I'm sure I had seen it before, but I had never noticed it before. It's one of those things. There was a little blue light in the room I went into. And, we've got all sorts of things plugged in all over the place and little lights shining randomly that we don't necessarily know what they are. Well, this one was on the printer. And, I've looked at this printer a lot. I know this printer. It's, we use the printer. Well, the blue light was saying that the printer was connected to the network. It wasn't a real bright blue light, which is probably why I had never noticed it before. But the printer was talking to a larger reality. You could print wirelessly, in other words, is basically what that light represents. Well, in our lives, discipleship, we may think of discipleship and having a guru as this very one-to-one thing, because it's very personal in a sense, and yet it's universal in another sense. And it is really never without context. There is always a network of discipleship that we are a part of, even if we have no other gurubhais that we know of. Gurubhai means brother or sister disciple that we know of. Nevertheless, the concept of discipleship means a network of strength, a kind of woven fabric of spiritual blessing and grace. Because the Guru and God work through instruments, as NIrmala was pointing out. We, all of us, also are instruments. We're instruments for whatever we hold in our consciousness. We're instruments for whatever we dedicate ourselves to in this world. And of course, that can be something very positive and very transcendental. It can also be something very mundane and self-limiting. It's our choice at what level we choose to live, at what level our consciousness is. We read from a book in the meditations that we have in the community every day of the week. We read from a book of Swami Kriyananda's at the end of the meditation called Living Wisely, Living Well. And a week or two ago, there was a reading that struck me because Swami was talking about how we have to live in freedom. He said, even if you found yourself at some point behind bars in a prison, no one can control your mind. No one can imprison your mind. But having taught in a prison myself, having taught meditation in a maximum security prison, I could feel, as in a way that I had never felt anywhere else in this world, I could feel the power of the magnetism that said, I am this body, I am stuck in this place, most probably for the rest of my life. I am stuck in this place, and my consciousness stops at the barbed wire fence outside my cell. But our conscious, what I wanted to communicate but I couldn't, is that this whole world is a prison unless we learn to make our minds free, unless we learn to reach above to a higher potential. And that higher potential is what the Guru represents. And as NIrmala was saying, we have to draw that magnetically. And There's a very sweet phraseology which I want to quote rather than paraphrase from the reading today, because in the Bhagavad Gita, Swami is quoting this passage: "Open thyself to those who have attained wisdom. They will be thy teachers." This is the part I wanted to touch on, though. Ask questions of them, both verbally and mentally. Okay, that's helpful advice because you want to know, so you have to ask. If you ask, you will learn more. Two attitudes of discipleship in this world are, what can I learn from this situation, from whatever just happened to me, whatever disaster just happened, whatever great blessing just happened? What can I learn? What can I take away from this that I can know forever? Second thing is, how can I help? How can I serve? How can I also help this process along? And the last part of that little passage is, serve them faithfully and with devotion. Now the guru, if it's true, if that person is a true guru with a capital G, has no personal interest. There's no personal desire there. Their personal desire, such as it is for our own freedom, for our own realization. There's no other sort of self-limiting definition around it. So serving them faithfully doesn't mean serving them personally in some limiting way. It means helping them to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish in this world. And we can, all of us, help. I saw something sweet the other day. It was a little vignette of drawings, and the Buddha was encountering some poor person. And the poor person was saying, "But I'm poor." And the Buddha was saying, "No, you're not." He was, "Yes, I am. I don't have anything." And the Buddha was saying back to this fellow, "You have the ability to smile. You have the ability to encourage someone. You can help in," and went on to name several ways. "You're not poor at all. You think you're poor, but you're not." We, all of us, think we're stuck in a body. We think we're imprisoned in this world. We're not. But our minds have to learn to go above and beyond. And that's what the Guru can help us to do. We're going to end our talks a little early today, and we're going to have a little ceremony of discipleship. And those of you who have already done this are welcome to sort of mentally repeat these words that we're going to say out loud inwardly. You can kind of renew that process if you want. But everyone else, please, everyone, all of us, let us send our blessings to these two souls who are taking this step of discipleship, because it's a very beautiful and a powerful step. And as I mentioned before, it's part of a network, a part of a family of support and blessing. And so we can all do our part to add to that. So we'll invite you two to stand and come forward. You can, once you face the altar. Yeah. So I'm going to read this first part, and you can just follow mentally along, and then Nirmala is going to take the second part and say the vow that you all can repeat, you two can repeat. And everyone else who's already taken the initiation can repeat those words mentally as we say them out loud. But first, just listen. I'll read this prayer. You don't have to respond out loud. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend, Beloved God, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar, Paramhansa Yogananda, I bow to you all. Divine Mother, I come before thee today, having long sought thy eternal light, long pondered the eternal truths, long followed the winding path that leads to thee. I have walked with my own strength, all too seldom with thine. I have walked with the thought, I want this from life, these answers, that guidance, this pathway or that. But I have seen that as often as I made claims on life, it eluded me. As often as I presumed on thy will, it turned away from me. Ah, too long, Mother, have I sought thee for myself, not for thy love. I know now that without thy strength added to mine, infusing it, I shall never find thee. Thine is the power, the grace, the infinite glory. With loving faith now I seek thee, through the ray of thy light that thou hast offered me. I will ascend to thee not by my power alone, but by the power of thy infinite love. I am thine, Mother. Be thou eternally mine.
And now repeat after me. I offer myself in service and devotion to your cause.
I offer myself in service and devotion to your cause.
And to the ray of the divine light as it is represented by your channels.
And to the ray of the divine light as it is represented by your channels.
Jesus Christ,
Jesus Christ,
Babaji Krishna,
Babaji Krishna,
Lahiri Mahashaya,
Lahiri Mahashaya,
Swami Sri Yukteswar,
Swami Sri Yukteswar,
and Paramhansa Yogananda.
and Paramhansa Yogananda.
Accept me into this family of self-realization,
Accept me into this family of self-realization,
and make me also through them
and make me also through them
an instrument of thy blessings.
an instrument of thy blessings.
Thus as I receive,
Thus as I receive,
may others be blessed also to receive.
may others be blessed also to receive.
I will join my energy
I will join my energy
to that of my Guru Bhais,
to that of my Guru Bhais,
my spiritual family on earth.
my spiritual family on earth.
I will cooperate with them,
I will cooperate with them,
and especially with the living representatives and guides
and especially with the living representatives and guides
of my divine line of gurus.
of my divine line of gurus.
Discipline me,
Discipline me,
guide me,
guide me,
purify me.
purify me.
Teach me to attune myself to thy ray,
Teach me to attune myself to thy ray,
until at last,
until at last,
through daily meditation,
through daily meditation,
through service and devotion,
through service and devotion,
I unite my soul
I unite my soul
with thy infinite spirit.
with thy infinite spirit.
So you can come individually to the altar now and place your flower and donation there. And the flower is a symbol of devotion. The donation is a symbol of your desire to see Master's work spread throughout the world. After placing the offerings at the altar and praying there, you can come to us and we will bless you in Master's name.
Oh, bless you over the heart and dark dust of the spiritual life. Master, bless you.
Master, bless you.
Master, bless you.
Master, bless you. Let's all stand and we'll chant Om, the blessing. This is for you guys.
Yes.
get to receive. You get to receive. God and Gurus bless you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, you're not allowed to hug everybody else till after service. Otherwise, we'll be here all afternoon.